The interior castle, first mention.
Let's enter now into the first dwelling place. Teresa tells us that our souls are these beautiful castles, and in the center of them is God, God's dwelling place. Let's enter.
Link to the audiobook is included in the description below. This is some of what Saint Teresa said. Chapter 1. I begin to think of the soul as if it were a castle made out of a single diamond or of a very clear crystal in which there are many rooms, just as in heaven there are many mansions. Now, if you think carefully over this, sisters, the soul of a righteous man is nothing but a paradise in which, as God tells us, he takes his delight. The very fact that His Majesty says it is made in His image means that we can hardly form any conception of the soul's great dignity and beauty. All our interest is centered in the rough setting of the diamond and in the outer wall of the castle, that is to say, in these bodies of ours. The door of entry into this castle is prayer and meditation.
So, how do we enter this castle? I imagine it as three locks. The first lock, prayer, without talking to God, uh, without having a relationship with God. How are we going to find Him if we don't know who He is? If we don't know what He needs? If we don't know what sin is, what mortal sin is? If we're not in union with Him, how are we going to find Him?
Chapter 2. Consider the state of this castle, this tree of life, when a soul falls into a mortal sin. Note that darkness exists. If a thick black cloth be placed over a crystal in the sunshine, its brightness will have no effect upon the crystal. She had learned to have the greatest fear of offending him. She continually begged him not to allow her to fall. Mere of humility, any good thing we do has its source in that sun which sheds its sad radiance on our works, must not be compelled to remain for a long time in one single room, unless it's a room of self-knowledge. Without humility, all will be lost. The soul must sometimes emerge from self-knowledge and soar aloft in meditation upon the greatness and the majesty of its God. It is a very good thing, excellent indeed, to begin by entering the room where humility is acquired. We shall never succeed in knowing ourselves unless we seek to know God. By looking at His purity, we shall see our foulness. I say we must set our eyes upon Christ our good, from whom we shall learn true humility. Our understanding will then be ennobled, and self-knowledge will not make us timorous and fearful. As the soul is still absorbed in worldly affairs, is easily vanquished, need to make His Blessed Mother their intercessor and do their battle for them. So many bad things, snakes and vipers and poisonous creatures which have come in with the soul prevented from seeing the light. Everyone who wishes to enter the second mentions, try to put aside all unnecessary affairs and business.
Number two, humility. Humility. And I think number three is self-knowledge. I think humility and self-knowledge is tied together, because if we don't know who we are in comparison to God, the creator of the universe, who bends down to dwell within our souls, His creation. Without God, we're really, what can we do? Nothing. And He can do everything. Nothing's impossible with God. So, I mean, without seeing that, without knowing how sinful we are. And that's the humility. We're sinners. We have to admit we're sinners. Um, yeah, those are the locks. This is how you open the door. This is how you enter.
Thank you. Smash the like button and subscribe.